didn't think you'd be so quick. I meant with like life in general.
Oh, I mean, life in general is. No, I got you, girl.
No, I was just doing a little. Can you just stop calling it island maintenance because it's not an island because I'm not playing Animal Crossing anymore. But I will probably always call it an island, even though it has nothing to do with Animal Crossing.
I mean, you know.
But sorry, valley maintenance.
Oh my God.
My goodness.
Dude. And it's funny
Yeah.
because, like, I got the sleep. I have the caffeine. I should have the energy. I do not have the energy. It does not make me go. So, don't know. I'm going to look for something. Hold on. Enjoy yourself. Entertain yourself. Give me like 2 minutes.
You're probably not even listening to me as I entertain myself, which is fine because you don't have to respond even if you are. But the extra shop and stuff, it doesn't hurt to have extra moonstones. Not that I probably plan on buying anything because I'm a hoarder. Hey, Stitchy boy.
I can't wait to hear this recording later.
Oh my god. Could you not hear me the whole time?
No, I had my headset off. I'm trying to do something. I'm trying to see if I can listen to you through my ear holes and use
Your
my
ear
mic
holes.
instead. Like I have like an actual mic, and then see if that.
Gotta use your brains, big girl brains.
Dude, they don't exist.
Well, that's okay. I just sat here entertaining myself.
I told you to entertain yourself.
Oh, I did. Okay, I was just talking about moonstones and all that jazz.
So funny.
Being a slacker player and ooh, hair. Ooh.
All right, better.
Yeah.
Okay, it's just my regular headset. I'll figure it out eventually.
You just sounded like weirdly like hollow surround soundy.
Oh, maybe. Sense? I mean, I guess so. It's just the mic. It's like a podcasting mic. So I was trying to see. That's okay.
Welcome to life.
What?
I haven't found my stupid chest yet. Hold on.
Okay.
Please hold. Oh, there it is. I didn't have to go far. And now all is right in the world. Magic everywhere. All this fantastic
disasters in the air.
There we go. That's I'm like, what am I saying? Like, my brain just like totally crapped out on that one. I was like, what am I saying? Okay. Hi.
Hi. Welcome to the party.
Oh, we're not partying.
No, we're not partying.
As much as we party, maybe. Party every day.
Party like a rock star. Just kidding.
Oh, that's a totally different song.
Hold on. Party rock? Do we party rock?
Man, I guess there's a lot of party songs, huh? That makes sense.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense. So I guess I can start by welcome to whatever the hell is happening today.
Yeah, brain mush
with our smut club. Smut club.
I wish my brain was mush because of smut. Alas, it is life.
Alas, it is the existence.
Life existence that has mushed my brain.
Are we having an existential crisis right now? Is that what's going on?
I don't think I'm old enough for that.
Probably not. Is it a midlife crisis? We're old enough for that.
No, it's like more like a
quarter life crisis. Third of a
life. third of a life crisis.
Yeah, there we go. Perfect. We're having a third life.
We're not that old.
No, we're not. So Ariel, what book are we discussing today?
Unfurl. This author normally writes your kind of vibe books. She's usually more of a fluffy romance, good vibes, like you want to just chill. And
that's not what this was.
So she decided to go by a different name and try something different for this book and this upcoming series. So Unfurl is about a 22-year-old girl who grew up in a very ultra-religious household, in a household where father knows best, father does best.
It's a patriarchal household.
Yep. And she's gone to schools where, everyone has been on the same page as that, and she has been taught basically sit down, shut up, and do what you're told. And she is now at an age and has friends that she feels like she's missing out on life because she feels like she's coming out of a fog and she's feeling like she spent her whole life not being able to think and not being able to choose anything. And she wants to have relations with people, and that's strictly prohibited. And
You said relations like we're not talking about banging.
I did. I'm trying to give this, like I'm trying to give it a description first.
I know
I
I'm just
suck at
being an
this.
asshole. No,
I
you're
know.
good. You're good. You're always good at
Um,
this.
Anywho, her upstairs neighbor moves in, and he is an older gentleman who's actually raised the same way as her, but came out of it much, much earlier than she did. And he has a club, a sex club, and one of his specialties is a program for more innocent people to lose their innocence with more experienced people so that it's not just a lackluster,
A shitty first
unhappy event.
time.
Yeah, exactly. And she is like gung ho, all aboard that train. And they're the main characters, so they have a connection, and it just kind of goes from there. I think that about sums up what the
Yeah.
premise is. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that pretty much sums it up.
I will have to say, I don't know if you read all of the author blurbs or anything, but she wrote this book as almost like a catharsis for herself because this was how she was raised.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is why there's a couple sections in the book that were a little frustrating because it seemed to be such a coming out of this, like owning oneself, setting boundaries, and then like there was this scene. I say it's just scene. It's not a movie, but there was this chapter after they finally, slept together, where she's like, "I want to go to church now."
Yeah, that one
And
that
I
got me.
was like, that doesn't make sense in my head. I, she reasoned it out, sure. But I think that was just her own stuff in her head versus how at that point where that character would have been.
Right.
Personally, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's how I read it.
Yeah,
What's her name?
Belle.
Belle. There we go. I was gonna say I've already read like 3 books since then, so my brain was like, Belle. We start out. She's just this whiny, like immature, really materialistic girl. She still calls her parents mummy and daddy, which total gag, by the way. Like even the guy finds her saying mummy like super duper uncomfortable.
Is it Rafe or is it Raf? I think it's
Like
Rafe.
it's like, ooh. I really did like the author's writing style.
Yes. I'm
I
gonna be
liked,
honest. You texted me warning me that she was gonna be this self-centered, and maybe I'm just like desensitized to it at this point because I've read a lot with that in it. I didn't.
mhm.
She was, yeah, because she was name
She
dropping
got better.
designers. Yeah, she was name dropping designers and the clothing that she's wearing, which I understand, especially in that specific type of family. But it didn't. If you had never warned me about it, I still wouldn't have known like how bad it was because she didn't bother
Gotcha.
me.
Well, like the first 2 chapters, she just spent like whining and like forcing herself to do and jump through these hoops so that she could
Stay at her parents'
stay
fancy
at her
place. Yeah, that
parents'
part I
fancy,
got. Yeah,
right, for yeah, it
that
was
part was a
just
little
like
weird.
it was so materialistic, and then like she's like going through this like crisis when later on in the book, and then she's like, well, at least I have this nice place, like at Rafe's place, at least I have this nice place to surround myself to, like, you know what I mean? And she's
Yeah.
like talking about like, she was just whiny. I mean, I think it was just to showcase how young and immature she was. But I don't know. She got way better. But that's just how it started up.
For sure.
But I really liked this author's writing style. I loved the texting format. Every time they had to do texting, I loved how that was put into the book because a lot of times they just add it in regular text form. But I loved the bubbles.
Yeah, so it's funny
I don't know
because
why. It's those little things for me.
no. It's funny because I had another book and I actually sent you a screenshot of it, and that's how they put the text in
Yeah.
with, as well,
But
was with
right,
literally
it's
that.
those little things for me that like can take a book and just add that little extra oomph to it that I'm like, oh, I really liked that, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like when I want like a feel good read, I might go to her regular writing and get one of her like nice reads because I liked her writing style.
Yeah, honestly, I really enjoyed the book a lot. I was not sure with the amount of huge religious
Mm-hmm.
like undertones of it, but at the same time, I understand. So, I guess I did like because I pulled up the like my notes and stuff. And like the one thing she was talking about that bothered me in the beginning, and this is where I did understand the upper class part where it was a little annoying, and I was like, I'd throw a rave in that house because she was saying how she doesn't normal people would throw a rave, but she just wants to put like do this fancy dinner, and I was like, I would throw a rave, but even at
Mm.
22. But I understand it with the religious upbringing, and then it
You
did
just
write
wanted to be more adult.
yeah, I did write that. I understand that the girl is upper class, but I don't like that the writing sounds so snobby. And it wasn't just it
Right.
was just like some of the descriptive words, not even stuff she was saying, but some of the description just outside of conversation
Right.
used words that I get it, but it tried to it just like she really used the thesaurus on those things. It just the
But I
wording
like
choices.
that though. I feel
It took
like,
me out of it a little bit in the beginning because I was
oh,
like,
see, I really like that.
it just felt like it was trying too hard, and I think that's the problem I had. And then I said Belle so far, and because I'm not the biggest fan of the religion, but I don't know why I didn't realize. Maybe I just forgot and ignored everything before reading this book. I didn't realize it was going to be so religion heavy. But I did say Belle so far is the definition of sit still, look pretty, and I said, what year is this in the 1800s?
Well, it's
But
funny
again,
because
I wasn't raised religious, but I do know a lot of people, and I've been friends with a lot of people who were raised uh Jesus fucking Christ. Raised.
sorry.
in,
I can
ah, they were
um
raised super
right.
religious and especially in the Catholic faith, and I understand with that.
Well, there was this one scene. I need to stop calling them scenes, but I mean, I guess it is a scene in theory. But when she has that moment with her mom and her dad, and
Mhm.
it started with the Harry Potter thing,
Yep.
and it kind of just kept going. It really kind of like gave me like PTSD vibes of like my own household because not my mother, but like
Right.
grandparents that
Yeah.
because well, my mom was young, so we were there a lot because the Catholic, household, but B, they're so ingrained in their faith and they're so ingrained in their belief system. Not only their faith and their beliefs, but they're so like hardcore Republicans too in that concept,
Mhm.
which goes hand in hand, I think, in that I've had so many of those kind of things where something little like that will set them off and it ruins the whole night. Like, for example, like one time they were watching TV or something, and there was this commercial, and in the background of the commercial, I don't even remember what the commercial was about, but in the background of the commercial, there was this man holding another man's hand walking in like the four like way far away background of this commercial. And it had nothing to do with the commercial, but they clocked in on that, and it was the whole discussion of the whole night, and it was the biggest rant of it's in our face. Why is it in our face? Why are they trying to shove this down our throats? Why they're ruining all our lives, ruining the whole world, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? And it just, that Harry Potter scene was like, yeah, I totally understand this. And it's hard because growing up, it was super easy to just be quiet or placate, or you know what I mean, because you
Yeah.
didn't want to,
Yeah.
say anything or rock the boat. But as an adult, I get in so many, how do I want to put this? I get in so many problems or people not because I don't stand for that now that I have kids,
Right. Yeah.
because
It's
I don't allow that around
right.
my kids. You know
Right.
what I mean? It's
Mhm.
just different.
Yeah, I didn't like my grandparents are Catholic. They were raised Catholic, but it's funny because I grew up with like my grandparents. Like my grandparents still go to church. They go to church every single
Mhm.
Sunday. They are still religious, but
Not to that point.
they gifted me Harry Potter books. Are you
Right.
kidding me?
Well, and that's the thing. There's total lines. Yeah,
Yeah, and
absolutely.
I've known some of those people, and like I've been friends with some of those people whose family are super super religious, so I've seen it.
And I'm not even saying like that my family is that extreme as these, because
No,
it's not the same. But I'm
but
just
you
saying like
have the
some of these scenes gave me that kind of flashbacky,
right.
like, oh my gosh, I know how that feels. Like,
Yeah.
you know.
So it was crazy. And then, I also wrote like, don't excuse bad behavior, even if it's your father and he's quote unquote not a bad man. You can't excuse that behavior. That is, but again, it is ingrained, especially in a patriarchal household, that
Hmm.
whatever the dad says goes, and that's that. And like while I wasn't raised religious, I have the experience of what your father says goes and what
Hmm.
happens if you don't listen to that person. Obviously, I'm not going to go into all of the grown-up trauma that I currently have, but I was raised more in that versus the religion. So like I can understand that part. And then of course, I dated a shitbag for 3 years, but during it, you make the excuses like because it's abuse. That's all there is to it. It's abuse. But you're like, "Oh no. He's not a bad man. He just makes these weird one-off crazy decisions, and oh no, don't worry about it. He's not a bad man. He just is having like a rough day." So it kind of gave a little whiplash with that one. I also did write down a spelling word that I didn't like, and I understand why it was written that way because it is set in England and it's tons.
Oh, I had
Tonnns.
a feeling you were
Oh
going to get mad at stuff like
God,
that. But
that's the only one.
just
That's the
because,
only one I got.
okay, but just because we do it differently doesn't mean, but
No. I'm
it's,
aware. It's
yeah.
just my stupid peanut brain. We've discussed this. Like it just bothered me.
See, I read a lot of books set and
Yeah.
written
See, I
outside, so it's
don't.
like it doesn't bother
Yeah,
me.
I did write that. Maddie may be a whore, but she is so far my
Oh,
favorite
I
person.
love her.
I,
Yeah, she
you know
was.
what it
Do you
is
do you know
I.
she's the next book?
Oh, thank
Maddie
God.
and Zach get
Oh,
their own
I
book in
can't
April.
wait. Oh, it
Yeah,
makes me so
Maddie and
excited.
Zach. They're
Yes.
calling them Zaddy, which I don't like, but
I had a
whatever.
book that referred to a dude as Zaddy, which actually turned out to be a really great book. I
I
think
think
I
that's
told
why it's bothering me so much because
yeah.
Zaddy is such a like a daddy, but it's just Zach and Maddie's name put together. So I mean,
I mean,
whatever.
I get it.
I do. Speaking of Zach, though, I loved the dynamic between Rafe and his
Oh
friends.
my
I
God,
I really
yes.
just loved it. I'm sorry, but it's not often that we get such like a MMC that has a good group of friends, and we get to see that nice
It
dynamic.
was really great. And of course, and especially in the club scenes and stuff, they all respected each other enough. And let me tell you what,
Hmm.
Callum can talk dirty to me anytime,
I
any day of the week.
mean, Rafe was a
Holy
little clingy, but I was not mad about it.
no, like he was like the right amount of clingy, which I liked. I loved their whole relationship and the way that they acted towards each other. And I do, even the club, it could have been
I
written
wish
more.
she wasn't so young, like because she
Yeah.
acted young. I wish if she was that age, fine. I'm not upset with the age. I just didn't like how immature she
Well, I
was.
think the reason they painted her as that immature is honestly
They
because
were
of the way
trying
she was
to.
raised.
I
Like
know, I
I
know.
understand that part.
But again, I wish that they didn't have her go to church after they finally slept together
Maybe
because
it's just because we don't do the religion thing, so
no,
maybe
no,
that is
no. For
something.
me, it was you're going to paint this world as what it is, and you're going to finally, have these great characters like Maddie saying boundaries, create this like and have Rafe be like, no, it's not okay for your father to talk this way. Not okay. Like that's abuse. And then you're gonna have her go to church. I'm sorry, but you're just continuing the cycle of abuse.
It could be she needed it for closure. I like that's the only thing I
And
can
if
think of is
that's what it was, sure.
yeah.
But she's like, no, I just want it for comfort. I'm like,
Well, because that's all she's known for years. So
I
it
know,
takes
but come
sweetheart, it
on.
takes more than a really, really good banging to get rid
I
of
know.
your comforts. So it's just gonna take time. So I mean, I'm sure that she'll eventually stop. but it was like ingrained into her for eternity. But I just listen, that blindfold.
Oh, wait. Oh, so okay. Let's talk about that
Let's
stuff.
talk about all of
Okay.
it, please.
So all the way up until the final scene, well, I shouldn't say final, but all the way up until the scene where they finally slept together, all the way up before that, hot as fuck. Let me
Oh my
tell you.
God.
I don't know what
Oh.
happened between that and the rest, but it was like two different worlds.
Yeah.
Because everything before they slept together, hot as fuck. I'm going to say it again. I don't know why, but I have no other descriptive words right now, but hot as fuck. Them sleeping together with everything being that amazing, touching over clothes and everything. I expected the gambit of fucking amazingness to go off when they finally slept together. And I'm not saying it wasn't good. I'm just saying it wasn't to the level that I built it up in my head that it would be after all that preceded it was amazing. And then they glossed over the rest.
It was kind of like all the everything beginning is foreplay, and then literally
Mm-hmm.
that part was just you skip the orgasm part and it's just the come down. You know what I mean? Like that yeah, it was the come down without it
The whole book was foreplay and they
dude.
glossed the rest.
Oh,
Yeah. And the foreplay was fantastic.
what a beautiful
Whoa.
foreplay that was.
She can foreplay anything for me anytime. I just wish the rest of it matched.
Yeah.
Because if the rest of that had matched the foreplay, holy freaking Christmas.
Yeah, it was it was so good. I was happy because like the other thing too is I like how you could tell the amount of care that went into either like researching, because the shit that happens, you need to research that crap like to write a book like this or live it yourself. It was very, I loved all the rules for the club. I loved how everything was laid out. There was so much good in this book and it was very well written. And then yes, you get all of that lead up to, I mean, it was still good. Like, don't get me wrong.
That's why I said if I hadn't had the level of foreplay that I had before, I wouldn't have thought anything of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But the level that was given to us during all of the lead up, you expected that level or higher when you got to actually the good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I should say, but I mean, that was, yeah, you know, yeah.
It was really
I mean,
good.
so also, I mean, it's a book. We've all read enough books that it's hard to be surprising sometimes, but that dad twist, I saw it 10,000 miles away.
Oh, for sure.
It was so cliched.
I don't think I expected him to go that far off the deep end, but I mean, I expected
well, we knew
it.
he was going to come home. We knew, you know, he was going to respond that way. I mean, I saw the whole thing happening.
Yeah.
My problem was all that happened, and I did not feel like the family stuff got as much resolution as was required.
No, I mean, she cut them off, but like I felt like it could have
She didn't
been,
cut them off.
or she said that
No, she just said, I need you to respect my decisions, but then we'll sleep on it. And then they never went back and had a
I don't know why I
conversation.
thought that she was like, and if you can't do that, then you can't be in my. I don't know why I thought that. I don't know.
Well, she was trying to be firm like that, but it ended up being we're going to sleep on it and we'll reconvene kind of thing.
Yeah,
And nothing ever happened.
Yeah, so then definitely no resolution there. So that kind of sucks. But you know, yeah, there's some definitely.
I mean, there is a continuation. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Zach and Maddie are the next book. So in theory, as
we might
you read the series, you might get some, but to me, to have a complete book, you needed more of a resolution for that family stuff, in my opinion.
No, yeah, of course. So, who was your favorite? You can have more than one.
Well, I loved Maddie and I loved Rafe. Weird, but I loved all his friends too.
Listen, I fell in love with Callum at first. Are you kidding me? The man,
he was kind of a little extra.
Was, oh, you know what though? That extra was great. And I loved it. But anyways.
I had this this stupid line. I think I texted it to you as I was reading.
I have some too. So
yeah, so too. It was
I do.
When she was trying to choose if she was going to try to do the program or not. She's like, if sex in general is the forbidden fruit, this is presumably the meth laced fruit. And I was like,
almost
Fantastic.
I almost did that. So I have a couple that were I highlighted. I did Don't Go Slut Shaming Him, You Judgy Little Horror from Maddie. Just because you're too scared to dip your toe in the water doesn't mean everyone else has to abstain, which I liked. And then another one was, and he's a particularly kinky fairy godfather swooping in to exorcise the former and ignite the latter, which was funny. The one that I laughed out loud for so hard.
I felt myself chuckling quite a bit with this book,
I
considering.
did too, but here's what happened. They were talking about their relationship, and I fucking laughed out loud when he goes, Belle, I say, with all due respect, shut the fuck up. I burst out laughing so hard because like she's like spiraling and talking about like, well, if we're in a relationship, are you still gonna go to the club? Or are we still gonna do the club? And he goes, Belle, just shut the fuck up. And I was like, I started laughing.
I did love him. And I loved Maddie, but I was confused because in the beginning she like made such a big deal about her two best friends and the dynamic between them and how they were so different. And then we never heard from the other one again.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah, that was a little weird. I'm glad that we kept Maddie though, but yeah, it was
Well, yeah, she had an important part to play, and she's going to be the next book. But like,
yeah.
I don't even remember the other one's name
I don't
because
know
we
what it
spent
is either.
80% of the rest of the book without seeing her again.
Yeah, so I mean, I wish they would have just left her out in general.
Maybe something with an A. Who did you not like?
Ooh,
So,
well,
so
it's
Callum was
obvious.
your favorite?
I mean, I'm torn. I like Callum and Maddie were my two favorite.
Yeah. Okay. Who did you not like?
Oh,
I
God.
mean, besides the dad.
I know that's the hard part is I literally hated the dad, and I didn't really like the mom either. But
I was
I
gonna say,
understand.
for me, the mom might have been even worse because she was compliant and complicit to the whole thing.
Yeah, but I mean, it sucks because like I want to say that too, but then again, I can understand the compliance when you're in a relationship like that. Again, because
You have children. Her child needs to come first now.
right. So I get that. But while I didn't have the religion aspect, I have been in a similar situation. So it's I get it, but I still didn't like her. So I don't know. It was the not liking person was kind of hard for me this book because everything was just written well and like the characters you're supposed to hate, you hate, you know?
Right. I really liked this. I really liked this author.
I
Like,
did too.
regardless of the story or anything else. Like, I'm not saying I didn't like the story. I'm just saying, regardless of the story, I liked this author and her writing style.
Maybe I'm just gonna have to read her fluffy stuff to make me happy.
That's what I'm saying. I wonder. Yeah. I definitely am going to read Zach and Maddie's book
for sure.
in April.
Hell to the yeah.
But I think that when I need something light, I'm going to probably check her out and see if it's the same style.
Yeah. So Amazon has only 100 reviews.
So this book just came out.
Oh, that would
literally.
explain it. I
got
look at
this.
it.
Yeah, it just came out. I got this off a brand new 2023 What You Should Read This Year list.
Shit.
Yeah, so
cool. Well, with 100
brand new.
reviews, it has a 4.4. So
Solid. I'd probably give it 4.5, maybe.
See,
yeah. Maybe 4.25.
I was thinking about going between 4 and 4.4. I was thinking of like in between. Only the religious chapter threw me off, and that was kind of where it like dinged it down a notch.
So I'm going to go down to 4.25 because for me, I was frustrated that the level of spice in the first half did not
match the spice
in the second. Exactly.
Yeah, so I did end up screenshotting like 2 reviews so I could read them. So one of them was saying how like oftentimes if I read a very spicy book, it's literally just for that. The writing's terrible, plot's terrible, literally for the spice until Unfurl. This book is in my top reads of ever. The character development, the plot, the writing, and then the spice, and then a bunch of emojis. The second one was the book is jam-packed with spicy scenes that take Dirty to a whole new level. I gave it 4 stars because I would have liked to see more of their actual relationship bloom, and because there was a lot of religious talk that was a bit odd for me to read, but still 4 out of 5. So I agree. Like I'm about that. I'm about that. How about your cucumber, darling?
So it's very difficult because if you had asked me based on the first half of the book, I would have a widely different answer than the second half of the book.
And now we just gotta combine.
I know. That's why my brain's trying to.
I'm putting it like a 7.
I was going to say, I want to say a 6 because I'm so disappointed in the second half, but I don't want to take away from all the gloriousness that was the first half either, you know?
It's a balancing act.
I know. 7.
Perfect. We agree on one for once.
We agree.
We have
We
the
agree.
same rating for one, which is crazy because that never fucking happens.
Apparently, we're definitely coming back for Zach and Maddie in April. So
yeah, and because I can't wait to hear Zach's backstory. Like
I know. I don't know why, but he
wait.
wasn't even in it that much, but I already love him.
Oh man, it's so.
My little tortured, glassy, nerdy soul.
It was so good. I love
Him and his little
I can't wait
glasses.
for it.
Just
Ugh. Wheel of Fate tab.
click, 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 click.
Ready and go.
Click, 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 click. One of these days, you're gonna have to fix it for me.
One day, but not today, baby. All right. So the next book that we are going to be reading, and if y'all want to follow along and read with us and read
Let us know
it,
what you think.
here is your
Do you
chance.
think it's as much trash as we do, or do you love it as much as we do?
Exactly. So the book is going to be Raptor.
Raptor.
Yeah. Why do I not remember writing this down? Who the
Neither.
fuck
That's why I'm looking.
Why did I write it down? Because I don't even see it on the list.
I know. It's the second book in the blah 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 in the series.
Oh, in the Rogue series? Oh, that explains it. I'm like, I don't remember.
It's the second Rogue book.
All right. Well, this will be interesting then because
my brain just like had a whole like meltdown during that whole moment.
That's so funny.
So I was on assignment to handle PR for the Air Force's Raptor demonstration team, and my fascination with the powerful aircraft made this my ultimate dream job. But as the pilot popped his cockpit canopy and climbed out of the jet, my adrenaline quickly turned to shock, leaving me speechless and a little crazed. Ian Thomas was striding from the jet directly toward me with a perfectly cocky smile plastered on his face. The last time I saw him was 12 years ago in high school. He was the quiet, nerdy boy, and I was the popular cheerleading queen that never gave him the time of day. That lanky nerd is now replaced with a confident pilot in front of me. Seeing him in his flight suit and the way his jaws flexed as he slid his aviators over his eyes, I knew that I was in trouble, and I was about to cause a whole lot more trouble in return.
Ooh, okay. So also, Ariel, I did not send you a text message of something that I found.
Oh boy.
And it was after your disappointment last
week. Oh no.
Our last episode. So I was gonna send this to you.
Oh boy.
Because I remember how disappointed you were about our mountain man.
Oh, my mountain man, right? Yes.
So as I was looking at stuff while we were recording, and I didn't want to interrupt us while we were doing it, a book for another mountain man popped up in my look.
Oh,
and it's
boy.
called Mountain Man's Claim, A Small Town Romance. And it says, I was searching for a new home. What I found was a wild mountain man. So I don't know. It just says, I moved to this small town to build a new life. How was I supposed to know there'd be nowhere else to stay? Or that Caleb Walker likes his cabin to himself. He thinks I'm a city girl who'll fly away when the going gets tough. But I see the pain behind his deep dark eyes. Oh, sweet baby Jesus. And the beast that's driving him to kick me out. So I offer him a job. Fix up the house I'm buying in town and I'll be gone all the sooner. Then everything changes the night of the harvest dance when he says those 7 words. Tell me you want me inside.
Excuse me?
Now the closer I get to moving out, the closer our hearts get to breaking. He's still pulling. It is a full-length standalone romance featuring a small town.
Put it on the TBR.
I will. No cheating and no cliffhanger. But I remember how
I was very disappointed.
So I just wanted to let you know that I found one that is a potential that we were going to add to the list because I remember how disappointed you were about the Mountain Man. And you know what? I want you to have your Mountain Man fantasy. Disappoint you.
I don't even know if I necessarily have a Mountain Man fantasy. That blurb was fantastic.
Listen, those 7 words.
Maybe if they could learn how to write like their blurb, that'd be super.
Mm-hmm. So maybe this one will be good.
Come on. Yeah.
It literally popped up. I don't remember where it was.
I mean, who doesn't want to find a naked 7-foot mountain man in the river?
I don't know.
Who basically just says mine and takes you back to your cabin. Hello.
Yeah.
Right. It sounded fantastic.
Just says, tell me you want me inside you. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well. So do you have any final words for the humans? Lock down your mountain man while you can.
If you know where the mountain men are, I mean.
Tell Ariel.
The men that you find attractive in like books, you would probably never want to meet in real life.
No, I read a lot of billionaire ones, and you want to know what? Rich
Yeah,
men
I
are
would like to meet
douchebags.
them actually.
You
No.
you would
Yeah,
say
that's
that,
true.
but
Yeah, I know
because
what
you
you
know
mean.
what happens sometimes when they're really rich, they turn out to be felons, even though
But
they're
that's
really
the
hot.
thing. I read a lot of books about felons, because they're usually like mafia related or something,
Mhm.
or cartel or things like that. And they're some of the hottest books, but I wouldn't actually want to meet those people in real life. That would probably not be smart.
I mean, it may not be smart, but listen, you know I have an experience with felons.
Yeah.
Dude, he was so hot. Come on. I could lick his abs.
That is not what I thought you were gonna say. Like Crystal.
I have no regrets.
Okay,
Not a one.
good.